Welcome to the Grace Period, where we get real about attorney mental health and well-being and pull back the veil on the high-stakes world of big law. I'm your host, Emily Logan Studman, a commercial litigator, partner, and someone who believes there's always room for a little more grace, even in this high-stakes profession. Here, I share real stories from my own journey in big law and invite you behind the scenes, beyond the billable hour, to talk about what it means to stay human in a demanding field. Whether you're a lawyer, a legal professional, or someone trying to find your footing, this space is for you. Let's pull back the curtain, start the conversation, and find our grace period together. Disclaimer: the views and opinions shared on this podcast are mine alone and do not necessarily reflect those of my firm or any organization. This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It is not legal advice, and listening does not create an attorney-client relationship. Today, on episode 49 of the Grace Period, I want to talk about something in my life that has really surprised me, and that is becoming someone who reads for fun. Growing up, I was never a big reader. I read for school because I had to, but I rarely read for fun. And I often didn't even really enjoy the books that we read in school. In undergrad and in law school, I read a lot, and I mean a lot as a history major, and then you'd be shocked at how much you read as a Spanish major, and then law school is basically only reading. But again, I only read for an assignment. It was rarely for pleasure. When I needed to unwind, I turned to TV. Crime procedurals are my favorite, plus some Bravo reality shows and things like The Challenge. Those were my outlets. Reading was work and relaxation was screen time. Then, in 2019, I heard about this challenge, 19 and 19. The idea is simple. Pick a goal that has 19 steps or something you want to do 19 times in 2019. So I chose reading 19 books in 2019. I started with a mix of hard copies and audiobooks just to see if I could do it. And really, I've been on it from there. I think it helped that I was only trying to add one book a year. And I think in 2020 and maybe 2021, I didn't reach my goal, but that was okay. I kept at it. Ultimately, I realized that reading didn't have to be all or nothing. I didn't have to stick to my go-to, which was nonfiction and personal and professional development. I could pick mysteries or a memoir or even light romance if that's what I felt like. Again, some years I hit the goal, other years I didn't, but I kept adding just one more book each year. Here we are today in 2025, and as of August 23rd, 2025, I've already read over 40 books this year. Things that have made the difference. I started using reading as a way to avoid doom scrolling, to fill those in-between moments, and to give my brain a break that actually feels restorative and meaningful. Sometimes it's just an audiobook while I walk or do chores or drive up north or drive home to Atlanta. Sometimes it's a physical book. I do prefer physical books, and I try to lean on those instead of scrolling on my phone. And in the beginning, I started extremely small. I would read for 10 minutes a day. I would literally set a timer for 10 minutes, or I would tell myself just read 8 pages. And still, on days where I don't feel like reading, but I know it'll help me, I stick to that, 10 minutes or 8 pages. Sometimes I stop at 10 minutes or 8 pages. Sometimes I keep going. I also don't force myself to finish books that I don't like reading. If I don't enjoy them, I put them down and walk away. This year, really in 2024, I found cozy murder mysteries, the Thursday Murder Club, the Marlowe Murder Club, all very, very good. And if you want something a little more intellectual, I highly recommend the Louise Penny Gamache series. And now I'm reading William Kent Krieger's Cork O'Connor series. Both of those are sort of Midwestern. Louise Penny is based in Canada and William Kent Krieger is based in Minnesota. So it feels close to home up here in Wisconsin. I love memoirs, especially on audiobook. Ina Garten's memoir is fantastic, especially her reading it to you. Feels like you're chatting with a friend. And I do still read some professional development books, like I'm currently reading Book Yourself Solid. And sometimes they're really light, like Vera Wang's Guide to Snooping in that series, or the Emily Henry books like Great Big Beautiful Life. They don't have to be serious, and giving myself permission to not be serious and not be on with reading has been really helpful to keep this habit going. And truly, finding reading for fun has been one of the best surprises of my adult life. It's reminded me that growth isn't just about professional milestones. It's about rediscovering what brings us joy, curiosity, and calm. And I also feel like I'm much more creative at work and with my LinkedIn content because I'm doing reading that is not just law related. So if you're someone who hasn't picked up a book just for fun in a while, maybe try a low pressure reading challenge. Start with one book and set a goal that feels doable, like 10 minutes a day or just 8 pages a day. Mix it up with audiobooks or graphic novels if that's your thing, whatever keeps you coming back. I hope this has shed some light for you on what finding a new hobby as an adult can be like. I never thought I would be an avid reader, and here I am reading 40 books in less than a year. Like, totally shocking. And all of us have that kind of time. We all have 10 minutes or 8 pages a day, and that is how you start a hobby that sticks. It took me from 2019 to 2025 to read more than the books in the year, and that's okay. Thank you for joining me on this episode of The Grace Period. Remember, you don't have to choose between your well-being and your ambition. By setting boundaries, building supportive habits, and giving yourself permission to pause, you can thrive in law and in life, and even in big law. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. That is the path to our grace period. Disclaimer, the views expressed here are solely my own and do not represent the official policy or position of my firm or any organization. This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only, not professional or legal advice, and listening does not create an attorney-client relationship.